Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, it's another day. Another day has begun. There's so many things that are occurring around here and around the nation. But we need to be watching. We need to be observing what is going on. We've heard so many things today with fraud and all these different things that have been going on, like that went on in Michigan. I heard some things that just amazed me. This thing where they closed down the polls, and all of a sudden you got people pulling briefcases, suitcases from under the table to begin counting votes, and most of the votes, as somebody kind of undercover saw, were going for Joe Biden. And that was in Michigan. And in Georgia, of course, there's a lot of things that were going on in Georgia as well. The issue of trying to prevent poll watchers from watching the poll counters, or people are counting ballots, and the even was I don't remember the lady's name, but she was being watching and overhauling and looking at the character of the ballot as it's entered, and she said that she saw at times them duplicating ballots and entering duplicate ballots into the machine, like something that's already been voted on. One guy was, I saw this in the hearings in Michigan, and one guy was supposed to watch the table and everything else, and they told him, hey, you watch this, and they said, oh, everybody go for a lunch break. And when they came back at lunch break, the Michigan the people counting the ballots locked the doors and boarded up the windows. This is not the behavior of somebody who's not up to something no good. These are people who are up to fraud. And it was so blatant in the way that they did it. It still amazes me. It's blatant the way they did it, the way they carried this out. Now, the citizens of Michigan are so upset that they're denouncing the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, over her decision to erase voting data from election machines. Over the weekend, scores of protesters gathered outside Benson's residence in Lansing, Michigan, to state her actions amount to cover up of fraud and criminal destruction of evidence. So I just told you what happened there. And here we have the Secretary of State destroying evidence. I think she needs to be locked up. Not only does she need to be taken out of her office, she needs to be locked up. They say dozens of armed individuals showed up to the Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson's home last night, shouting, "Stop the steal." While a circuit judge granted a voter's petition for an audit, the state Republican Party has raised concerns Benson may interfere with attempts to carry out any further investigation into the election. So we have crooked state's attorneys, crooked election people that are in charge over the election. The concerns grew after a memo from the Secretary of State was published Friday instructing election officials EPD software and associate files must be deleted by November 30th. In a statement following the event, Benson said the activists crossed the line and tried to intimidate her and her family by making loud and threatening demands. I'm going to tell you something, Ms. Benson, you better watch out, because I don't think they're going to just be making threatening demands. If you keep this illegal activity up, you may be facing a lot more, and you may be bringing your family into much danger. We're in a climate in this country where you need to not be doing criminal activity right out in front of your citizens that you're supposed to be representing. This is ridiculous. And so, of course, she goes on to do what the Democrat Party always does. They try to identify us with the KKK or with Nazis, the Republicans. They always try to do this. Yet they were the most prejudiced party in the history of this country. She then went on to compare the protesters to a violent neo-Nazi organization. What, Antifa and BLM? You didn't say that, did you? Because they were out here destroying your property in Michigan. What did you do then? Except stop people from prosecuting these people who are defending themselves on their properties. And here you are, they're coming at your property. I hope they keep coming after you. And she likens herself to Viola Lisko, who was a civil rights activist for Detroit that was murdered by the KKK. Give me a break, Miss Benson. Give me a freaking break. I've told y'all before, the Democrat Party did not want to free the slaves. The Democrat Party did not want the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Democrat Party created the Jim Crow laws and segregation. Joe Biden himself was a hide behind the bussy. It occurred in the 70s and 80s. So, give me a freaking break. Stop trying to say that we're racist. You're the party that's racist. I told y'all before in this program, if they keep identifying you who are not racist and keep pushing at you, that's really what they're telling you. When my dad always says, when you go pointing your finger at people, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you and 1 pointing up to God. So don't do that. The individuals gathered outside my home, she said, targeted me as Michigan's chief election officer. You're a freaking crook, Benson. But their threats were actually aimed at 5.5 million Michigan citizens who voted in fall's election. No, it was not aimed at them. And some of them were the citizens who voted, who were neglected, and who were lied to and set up for corruption through your trying to get a communist elected to office, Joe Biden. And she claimed they're trying to overturn the people's will. Why would you overturn, Miss Benson, the legislation that is in your state? They set up the rules. Yeah, you got people blocking poll watchers, keeping Republicans out, cheering when Republican or GOP poll watchers are kicked out of the room. Some move violently. And even somebody said that someone was taken out in handcuffs. Why? For doing their job, for watching you criminals trying to cheat on the election. And that's exactly what happened. Ms. Benson, you're the head of it. And they're going to find out what you did. So you can keep hiding all you want. They're going to find out your corruption too. I hope and pray they do. Because you're behind this too. You're the little Hillary Clinton for Michigan. Trying to destroy evidence. Destroying emails. Oh man, these people. This is criminal activity. When you try to destroy evidence, that's criminal activity. It's like somebody going to arrest somebody on drugs and they flushing marijuana and flushing other drugs down the toilet. This is exactly what Secretary of State Benson did. She was caught, and so she tried to clean off the voting machines so that people could not investigate. There's an investigation. I pray they call her in contempt of court because she was not supposed to touch any of those darn machines without the legislation approving it. Despite her claims of terror or imminent violence, authorities confirmed no one was injured or arrested during the protest. It was a peaceful protest. Although, if I was there, I don't think it would have been a peaceful protest. Because I think that she's a criminal and she needs to be put in jail. They noted the activists calmly dispersed when asked. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth.
Did you know Kelly Loeffler was ranked the most conservative senator in America?
Yep, she's more conservative than Attila the Hun.
Fight China. Got it. Attack big government.
Yeah. Eliminate the liberal scribes.
More conservative than Attila the Hun.
Uh-oh.
Kelly Loeffler, 100% Trump voting record.
I'm Kelly Loeffler. I approve this message.
It's hard to believe that my opponents have been in office for 63 years. I've spent my life learning how to deal with large, complex situations like I found at Reebok and Dollar General. If these politicians had any understanding of the free enterprise system and knew how to make a difference, wouldn't they have done it already? Help me change the childish behavior up there. If we want different results in Washington, we have to send a different type of person to Washington. I'm David Perdue. I approve this message.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, The Voice of Truth. One of the lazy, low-down Democrats, their lazy butts, and finally, Nancy Pelosi, where she thinks she got President Trump out of office, she's finally going to cooperate on a lesser stimulus package. And I might mind you, let's look at this and see what it says. They say Congress is looking to pass a last-minute Corona stimulus deal before the end of the year. I think we said it was supposed to be before the election. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is drafting a legislative text for their $908 billion proposal, which was unveiled last week. Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican from Kentucky, said his chamber would not support it and instead called for a targeted $500 billion deal. However, House Speaker Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer backed the proposal. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, Republican, a member of the group which drafted the bill, criticized the lawmakers for not being willing to compromise. People, what did I tell y'all before? They're sitting up there, they're getting rich off of taxpayers' money. I don't care if be Republican or Democrat. They get rich off of our money, our taxpayer money, and holding things back from us. I hate the IRS to be their crooks too. But I'm saying, this is ridiculous. They screw us over, then they continue to screw us over. And y'all better get out there and vote in Georgia and vote Republican so that we can get in January to get control of the Senate and keep control of the Senate. And then he says, this is something that Cassidy says, one thing that frustrates me, some folks are saying, well, it doesn't include this or it doesn't include that, and so I'm not going to vote for it. He stated, I'm thinking, wait a minute, telling, because everybody doesn't get everything and no one gets anything. In other words, you can't have everything you want. I mean, this is in life. You can have some things you want, but you can't have everything you want. But yet, Nancy Pelosi, as usual, refusing to budge, and these other Democrats in the House and in the Senate are refusing to budge. And also, I'm not going to just hold it to them. Republican Mitch McConnell, you need to move too. You need to budge, get this thing out of here, get this mess out of the way. The people have been waiting for months for help with this garbage y'all put us through by shutting down the government. I love President Trump, but I didn't agree with him shutting down the government regardless of what they may have said, because it was all a big lie anyway. They found out a lot of the people they say were dying of COVID-19 were false. A lot of it was false, especially in Florida. They had the numbers so bloated, it was ridiculous. Even the CDC said out of 100,000, only 10% actually died of COVID-19. The bill includes unemployment assistance. What about people who are self-employed? The bill includes unemployment assistance, eviction protection, another round of paycheck protection program, state and local government aid, as well as limited liability protection. It's seen as a stopgap measure to extend relief until lawmakers can agree on a broader package in new Congress, and President Trump has said he will support a stimulus bill if one makes it to his desk. So we have a president that said, I'll approve anything. If it makes it to my desk, I'm going to support it. I don't care if it's $2 trillion, $3 trillion, whatever. As long as the people get the help they need and the other people get whatever help. And President Trump said this before the election. He said, get it to my desk. We'll approve it. But what do you have? You have people still fighting and fuck. It's upsetting. I'm telling you people, it's very upsetting to me. Because this crap don't affect them. They can go on vacation, lay around on the beach, or whatever. And we're out here trying to feed our families and pay our rents and pay our bills. And a lot of us are falling behind. Especially those of us who have lost businesses through this garbage shutdowns that they're continuing in Democrat states and Democrat cities. President Trump tells reporters in the White House he will support a coronavirus bill, as Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said this week the Congress is close to reaching a deal. Well, Mitch, you need to get to the deal. Stop being close to reaching the deal. We're going to take a break right now. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth.
Meet Raphael Warnock. He wants you to know he eats pizza with a fork and a knife. He once stepped on a crack in the sidewalk. But Georgians don't care about that. Georgians care that Raphael Warnock was a proud defender of anti-American, anti-Semitic pastor Jeremiah Wright, who suggested America deserved the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
Not God bless America, God damn America.
We celebrate Reverend Wright.
Warnock said law enforcement officers are gangsters and thugs and a danger to children. He's anti-Israel, anti-Second Amendment, sympathizes with Marxists and socialists, and wants to make your neighborhoods less safe. Don't let him fool you with pizza and puppies. Raphael Warnock is too extreme for Georgia.
I'm David Perdue, and I approve this message.
John Ossoff and Chuck Schumer have been caught in a lie. Senator Perdue welcomed a full review of his stock trades, and the Department of Justice, the SEC, and even the bipartisan Senate Ethics Committee cleared him completely. Despite that, Ossoff and Schumer continue the lie, spending millions to hide their radical socialist agenda. What else are they lying about?
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. I'm David Colbert. Chairman of Smartmatic's parent company to become president of George Soros' Open Society Foundation. See this mess, this socialist garbage, even George Soros, he's the one behind it. Hideous mean. These people, billionaire George Soros has appointed the chairperson of Smartmatic, another criminal organization, voting systems parent company, as president of his far-left global organization. Over the weekend, Open Society Foundation announced Lord Mark Malloch Brown is set to take over the position next month. Man, these people a mess. The move comes after Smartmatic sold voting technology to foreign-owned Dominion. What did we say? No foreign interference in the election? Well, how did this company Dominion sold to foreign-owned company Dominion, which is a controversial software used to count votes in 24 U.S. states for 2020 election? People, this is purely crooked and criminal. I'm telling you, they need to do the election all over again. I hate to go back out and vote again. We need to go back out, vote all over again, and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. Then it says, meanwhile, Smartmatic, tied to Dominion voting services, facing backlash over what President Trump has described as instances of fraud in the 2020 election. It is fraud. Come on, guys, this is very simple. This is criminal activity. Any police officer can tell you this. People hiding information, destroying evidence. This is criminal activity. And one Michigan county, as an example, that used Dominion systems, they found that nearly 6,000 votes had been wrongly switched from Trump to Biden, stated the president. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is what we caught. This is them checking the system out, people. Then you have people in Michigan, like Michigan State, Secretary of State, clearing out voting machines when all this is going on. I think they need to fire her behind. Whoever is in charge, the governor, fire her butt, get her out of there. She don't need to be in there. She is making your state, Michigan, look horrible. Smartmatic has faced controversy in the past with allegations of rigging the 2013 election in Venezuela to favor socialist president Nicolas Maduro. And you saying that this election wasn't involved in any fraud? Give me a freaking break. You got criminals running our country. Democratic mafia running our country, lying to the people, corrupt media. You can't get the truth out of media. If somebody said the sky is blue, they come out and say it's black, and some of you knuckleheads out there believe the garbage. A lot of the stuff that they're saying is lies. Do your own investigation, do your own research, and you will find out that a lot of the mess and the crap that the mainstream media is putting out are lies. Lies. Down, outright lies. I watch the news, I've heard nothing. You got a bunch of people doing what I do. I'm an opinion talk show host. So I give my opinion on what the truth is. Not some made up mess trying to say Trump is a Klansman or he's a racist and all this. Because what did I tell you before? The people always screaming racist are the racists. And the Democrats are systemically racist. I don't care what they say. Even the blacks in the Democrat Party. Save Vernon Jones. I respect him and I honor him because he is a man of truth as well. But I'm telling you, I've known some blacks in the African American community who dislike their own people. They're prejudiced against their own people. They think because they're in Congress or they're whatever, Miss Sheila Jackson Lee, that they're better than you. And really, that's true. I was at an event one time and Sheila Jackson Lee sat in her car, made sure she was late getting in so she could make a grand entrance. I'd be so glad when she gets voted out of office. Somebody, Mr. Champion, you need to get a little harder at work soon, 2 years, so you can get her out of there. Keep working, young man. Keep working. President Trump has called for an overhaul of the U.S. election systems. During his Valdosta, Georgia rally on Saturday, the president said he has plans to push forward critical election reform to ensure the safety of the future elections. The November presidential election has notably been contested for widespread reports of voter fraud involving issues with state election security. And it has nothing to do with President Donald J. Trump other than the fact that the Democrats don't want him in office. The media don't want him in office. And darn sure, China and Ukraine and all these other people don't want anybody in the office that's going to propagate truth. President Trump expressed concern for voting systems in the U.S. and voiced a desire to push forward with legislation requiring voter identification as well as other security reforms. There was a young lady that's from India that said, hey, she had to do all kinds of stuff. She had to do fingerprint checks and all this stuff to become a citizen of the state of this country. Yet, if you want to vote without your ID and no identification, go ahead and vote in Michigan, where they were at. And after we win, he said, we need to pass landmark election reform, including voter ID. He stated, is that so bad? Residency verification, like we live in a country, we live in this state. The president told everyone in the audience they have been a victim of mass voter fraud, and it is the truth, while reiterating a stolen election will not hurt him, but rather the hard-working American people. And he's correct about that. To ensure mass fraud will never happen again in this U.S. election, again, Trump administration promised to implicate citizen confirmation so illegal aliens will not interfere in future elections. On numerous occasions, the president warned Americans of the high risk of corruption if citizen confirmation of voter ID is not implemented. Moreover, Democrats have opposed such legislation for decades. Republicans have argued the high opposition comes from the left benefiting from lack of voter identification in elections. Meanwhile, voter ballot rejection rates have been historically low. In other words, they're getting bad ballots, no identification, anything. It's been testified upon. And these people have no reason to lie. They were there. The one lady, they tried to tie, say like she was working with the Trump campaign. She said, no, I reported the day after I was working at the poll. I told them it was irregularities. And I did an affidavit to tell them this was going on. And this was a Democrat in the Senate in Michigan. They need to stop this crap. Democrat Party need to stop it. And y'all need to get back to realism. Stop this radical garbage and start representing your constituents. You can go the crazy ways you want to go, but you need to represent your constituents and stop trying to cancel people, trying to say your statement is not important. I want Democrats, I want you to understand this. Every freaking citizen in this country has a right of free speech. Even those that sit on Congress, those that come before your Congress, they have a right to free speech. So when people are talking, you ask a question, shut up and let them answer. Shut up and let them answer. I am so tired of this. Watching these programs where you up there and people trying to talk, oh, I need to get my word in. I need to get my word. Well, I'm trying to answer the question. Yeah, you're constantly interrupting Democrats, congressmen. You're constantly interrupting and not allowing people to answer the questions you ask. This has got to stop. Looks like a freaking high school classroom or some elementary school classroom where you can't get the kids to shut their mouth. And I was so embarrassed looking at Michigan's state senate. The guy, the head of the state senate, the speaker of that senate, I was so embarrassed. You got Democrats yelling out all over the place, screaming out, trying to talk and ask questions from way off. And some lady Johnson, whatever her name is, on the Senate. Oh man, what an embarrassment. This is supposed to be America. Freedom of speech. Just because people say what they see don't mean that they're lying. The Democrat Party, you've done a lot of corrupt stuff. You've hidden things. You're always trying to cover up stuff. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden. Joe Biden needs to be in jail. So does Hunter Biden and his brother Jim. They need to be in jail facing trial. Why did they do it to all the other people? What about Stone? You put Stone in jail. You put him on trial. Joe Biden needs to go on trial. And I'm asking President Trump, put his butt on trial. Bring him before the Congress. He's not the president. He has not been certified. And I don't care if he even run. We need to get him before the Congress, before the Senate. Because he's involved with illegal activity. And I don't care if the man's crazy or not. And he is. He has dementia. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, we're all ignoring it like this man can't even remember where the heck he's at. How's he going to lead our country? Once again, I want to thank you for joining us here at the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. And got a little, a little worked up today. But I just want to say I want to thank you for watching tonight. And until next time, this is David Colbert saying, God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. And I want to say this to you in love. I want to say good night and God bless.